Alright guys, we need to talk about Marc Marquez. And no, I'm not here to talk about his pace on the track, which we all know is absolutely insane. But we're going to talk about his brain. Marc has just dropped a massive prediction for 2026, and he's saying it's going to be the most complicated, the most difficult year of his entire career. Think about that for a second. This is Marc Marquez, guys. The man who survived a horror arm injury, who dared to leave a decade-long legacy at Honda for Ducati, and a fighter in this era of aero wars. But he's worried about 2026? He feels threatened, guys. I mean, really threatened. Not because of speed, but because of the chaos. We're looking at a perfect storm between a frantic rider transfer market, a technical dead-end year, and the looming shadow of the 850cc regulations in 2027. Stick with me on this one, because if Marc is worried, every other rider on the grid should be terrified. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. We're doing a deep dive into the madness of 2026 today. This is the breakdown. Marc Marquez just gave an interview where he explicitly stated that 2026 will be the most difficult rider market ever. Why? Because 2026 is the limbo year. 2026 is the final year for the current 1000cc regulations. In 2027, everything changes. Engines drop to 850cc. Aero packages are massively slashed. Ride height devices? Gone. Banned. Marc's point is simple. How do you choose a team for 2027 when you have to sign the contract at the start of 2026? You're basically gambling with your career on a bike that doesn't even exist yet, Marquez said, and I quote, "No one can promise which bike will be the best in 2027. He's looking at a paddock where almost every rider's contract expires at the end of 2026. It's like a game of musical chairs, but the chairs are on fire. Let's look at the data. Marquez might be dominant right now, but he's already predicting a decline, or at least massive complications. He's playing 4D chess while everyone else is still confused about the tire pressure." Now we get into the tactical side. Why is 2026 complicated technically? Manufacturers are in a nightmare position. They have to spend millions of euros developing the 2026 bike to win the final title of the 1000cc era. But at the same time, they mandatorily must focus all their resources on the 850cc prototype for 2027. If you focus too much on 2026, you're dead in 2027. If you focus on 2027, your 2026 race results and your riders will suffer. And look at the mentality here. Marc is currently on the best bike, the Ducati. But even he is doubting whether Ducati will remain superior once all those electronic and mechanical gadgets are stripped away in 2027. He knows about the engine freeze in 2026. He sees Honda and Yamaha slowly rising through concessions, and he knows the gap will get tighter. Marc is fast, guys. I mean, so fast. But his greatest strength is his ability to adapt. He's essentially saying, I can't predict the future anymore. If you're a rider like Jorge Martin or Pecco Bagnaia, do you stay loyal to your brand, or do you risk a move to Honda or KTM, who might have a magic engine for 2027? This is a decision that determines whether you retire as a legend or a loser. Now, let's look at the big picture. 2026 isn't just about points, it's about survival. If Ducati dominates 2026 but looks weak for 2027, we'll see a mass exodus of riders. Imagine Marc Marquez going back to Honda in 2027 because HRC found a loophole in the 850cc regs. It sounds crazy, but Marc himself said, "If you are fast and happy, don't move." But this sport changes every day. We also have the factor of young riders like Aldegar waiting in the wings. Ducati has too many fast riders, but too few seats. This complicated market will lead to the most brutal negotiations in history. We could see a world champion left without a factory seat simply because they guessed wrong about which bike would be good in the new era. It's brutal. It's absolutely savage. The conclusion? Marc Marquez is sounding the alarm. He's 32, he's won everything. And he's telling us that logic in the MotoGP paddock is about to break. 2026 will be a year of fake results because everyone will be focused on the 2027 horizon. My opinion? Marc has already started lobbying. He's not just predicting chaos, he's preparing a way to profit from it. He wants that 10th world title, and he will move to whatever bike can give it to him, even if it means leaving Ducati. But what do you guys think? Is Marc genuinely worried, or is this just Psy-War to make his rivals panic? Will 2027 be the end of Ducati's dominance? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your theories.
And seriously, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? While Marc Marquez is busy predicting the future, we need to discuss the bitter reality right in front of us. We need to talk about the Martinator, Jorge Martin, and his bloody adventure with Aprilia in the 2025 season that just passed. Forget the 2024 title for a moment, because in 2025, Martin was truly taught a lesson by the RSGP, and he's just been brutally honest about how far he is from winning. Stick with me, because this data will make your head spin. According to the latest reports, Jorge Martin finally spoke out about the 2025 season, which was, let's be honest, a total mess for him. Martin said he needs an extra 0.4 seconds per lap just to be able to fight at the front. Sounds small? In MotoGP, 0.4 seconds is a country mile, guys. Remember, Martin arrived at Aprilia with the number 1 on his bike, but the 2025 season turned into a horror year. He missed 15 rounds due to 4 severe crashes that saw him in and out of the operating theater. He only broke his duck and scored points at the Czech GP after a 5-month absence. And even then, he finished P7 15.8 seconds behind Marc Marquez, who won there. He is struggling, guys. I mean, struggling hard. Why would a defending world champion struggle this much? 1. The bike. Rejected him. Martin said bluntly that the RSGP didn't accept his riding style. He's used to the Ducati, which is stable under heavy braking, whereas the Aprilia requires smooth corner speed. 2. Missing 5,000 kilometers. Because of his injury early in the season, Martin lost crucial testing mileage. He fell behind on data, fitness, and worst of all, feeling. 3. Internal pressure. Aprilia boss Massimo Rivola made some pointed comments when Marco Bezzecchi won in Britain, seemingly hinting to Martin that the bike was actually competitive and it was just the rider who hadn't clicked. Let's look at the data from the 2025 season that just ended. Total rounds, 22 rounds. Martin's appearances, only 7 rounds. Best result, P4 at the Hungarian GP. No podiums, no wins. Widest gap, 15.8 seconds at Brno. Internal rival, Marco Bezzecchi already won once and took 3 consecutive podiums at the end of the season. Imagine, the holder of the number 1 plate didn't even stand on the podium once in 2025. This is a massive slap in the face for the Martinator. Now, what's the impact for 2026? There were rumors Martin wanted to terminate his contract early out of frustration, but the latest news says they've made peace. Martin realizes he can't just demand the bike changes, he has to be the one to change. He said his target for 2026 is to aim for the maiden victory. But the question is, can he find that 0.4 seconds in a single winter? Aprilia has promised 3 things: time, mileage, and confidence. But in MotoGP, time is the one thing you don't have. My verdict, Jorge Martin is at the lowest point of his career. 2026 will be the decider. Will he rise like Alex Espargaro, who built Aprilia from scratch, or will he be the next victim of an RSGP bike that is notoriously picky about its riders? I reckon Martin will return to the podium, but to win regularly? Still a long way off, guys. He needs a technical miracle from Noale. What do you think? Can Martin win at the 2026 season opener, or will he sink further into Bezzecchi's shadow? Comment below.